Guidelines on how to collect soil samples from indoor and outdoor crime scenes. So first one, garments or footwear with soil particles should be collected intact. Ibig sabihin, magkasama sila, intact nga, buo. These items must be individually wrapped in big sheets of paper and placed in separate paper bags. So katulad ng paulit-ulit nating sinasabi, basta magkakaibang location ng mga ebidensya, kailangan magkakahiwalay din sila ng kanilang packaging. Magkakahiwalay ng pag-seal, magkakahiwalay ng pag-label. Vehicles involved in accidents will sometimes leave lumps of soil from under the wheel and fenders on the road. The lumps should be collected intact and wrapped in protective material to minimize bumping during transport. So same lang din, kailangan balutin mo siya ng buo. This will preserve the layers that have built up to create this lump of soil can also be matched to a particular vehicle. Kasi there are certain characteristics ng mga soil. So, if you were able to gather soil from sabihin natin, from a wheel, gulong, tapos meron kayong suspected na soil kung saan dumaan ang isang suspect, or yung soil sample mismo doon sa crime scene, pwede mo ipag-compare through, of course, forensic analysis kung yung soil mula doon sa gulong at yung soil mula doon sa crime scene ay nagmamatch. And kapag nagmatch sila, ang ibig sabihin nun is that yung vehicle ay dumaan siya doon sa crime scene. 3. Lumps of soil stained with blood, semen, or other biological samples should be collected intact and submitted to the laboratory as air-dried samples. So, for example, yung soil, meron daw blood or semen or other biological samples. Ang gagawin mo is sasalukin mo siya ng buo. Kukunin mo siya ng buo. Wala kang iiiwan. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng intact. Then, next na gagawin mo is i-air dry mo siya, then submitted to the crime laboratory. Of course, kasama na dun yung sealing, packaging, and everything else. And then, number 4, at indoor crime scene, there may be footprints in soil or in dust. Samples made by footwear should be photographed with and without scale before being collected. Standard naman yun, di ba? Na before kang makialam sa kahit anong ebidensya sa crime scene, kailangan meron munang picture with scale and without scale, kung saan nauuna yung without scale. Soil particles can best be collected using a portable vacuum cleaner with a metal screen on which a filter paper is attached. The area is vacuumed and the filter is removed and labeled with date, time, location, and name of the evidence collector who operated the vacuum. So, may portable vacuum cleaner. Lalagyan mo dapat siya ng filter paper. And then, syempre, va-vacuumin mo na yung soil, diba? After vacuuming the soil, tsaka mo kokolektahin yung laman ng vacuum, pati na rin yung filter paper as evidence. Number 5, tools with soil samples should be wrapped in a clean sheet of paper and then placed in a cardboard box. Seal and label the container. Ulit-ulit lang, tool naman ang merong soil sample, balutin mo yung tool na yon, kunwari, screwdriver, plies, yung mga yan, then tsaka mo siya i-package. Only the top surface of the soil should be picked up at the crime scene. Control specimens must be removed from the surface without digging too deeply to the lower soil surface layer. The collected known and questioned samples must be only 2 tablespoons each. Okay, lupa, di ba? Yung topsoil, magkolekta ka nun. Although, may kokolektahin ka rin sa lower part ng soil, pero hindi naman naghukay ka na ng 6 feet, di ba? Si OA. And may dalawang uri ng samples na kukunin ka. Tag 2 tablespoons each, ha? So, yung una is yung known sample. Pag sinabing known sample, alam mo kung saan nanggaling. And kapag question sample, hindi natin sure kung saan ito galing. So, yung question sample, maaaring ito yung galing sa gulong or galing doon sa tools, yung mga yan. Pag known sample, ikaw mismo ang kumuha nung sample na yon. Ikaw yung naghukay nung soil. And then, the soil to be collected from the ground must not exceed a depth of 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na hindi ka naman maghuhukay ng hanggang 6 feet. 1/4 to 1/2 inch lang. So, wala mang 1 inch. Ng 1 inch, diba? Wala mang isang buong inch ang soil na kokolektahin mo. So, andyan na, kunyari, 1/2. Andyan na yung topsoil and yung sunod doon sa topsoil. Doon sa 1/2, andun na yung topsoil and yung subsoil. And then, if the footwear or tire impression was taken from the subsoil, which is different from the topsoil, it is necessary to collect both samples for forensic analysis. So, kukuha ka ng topsoil, of course, matik naman yon, and also subsoil, para ma-compare mo doon sa footwear kung sakaling yung footwear ay feeling mo masyadong malalim yung impression na nasa subsoil na siya. All recovered soil samples should be placed in different plastic containers or vials. Mark each containers to include the location where the soil sample was collected. Kasi nga, bawat ebidensyang makukuha mo sa magkakaibang location, kailangan magkakaibang packaging din, magkakaibang collection, magkakaibang seal, magkakaibang labels. Control sample should be collected various interval within a 100-yard radius of the crime scene as well as the site where the crimes was committed for comparison with the questioned soil samples. Soil samples for alibi locations claimed by the suspect should also be collected. So pag sinabi nating alibi, ito yung dahilan ng suspect na wala siya sa lugar kung saan nangyari yung krimen. Wala siya sa crime scene, nasa ibang lugar siya. That's alibi. So preservation, biological specimen in soil must never be heat-dried. Always air-dried lang. Lahat naman, di ba, air-dried lang. No effort should be made to remove loose soil adhering to garments or shoes. So, merong soil sa sapatos, merong soil sa damit, wag mong papagpagin, wag mong aalisin. Isama mo doon sa pagkolekta mo ng ebidensya. Items should be individually wrapped in paper bags with the soil intact and sent to the forensic science laboratory for examination. Number 3, the vacuum cleaner must be thoroughly cleaned between samples. Kapag gumamit ka nga ng portable vacuum cleaner, kokolektahin mo sila ng separate, di ba? So, bago ka mag-move on sa sunod na location, kailangan nalinis mo muna yung vacuum. Parang yung scalpel lang kapag nagko-collect ng paint samples or dried blood samples. Kailangan linisan mo muna yung scalpel bago ka mag-move on doon sa sunod na ebidensya. It is important that a clean shovel or spoon must be used for each soil samples taken from different areas. The soil samples should be allowed to air dry before they are brought to the laboratory. They can be placed in plastic bags provided they are completely dry. Soil samples with maggots should not be allowed to dry. Wag mong patutuyuin kung merong maggots yung soil. They must be placed in aluminum foil with a small slice of beef liver placed in another container. So, aluminum foil, ilagay mo dun yung maggots, tas maglagay ka daw ng beef liver para may kinakain yung maggots, buhay siya. Tapos ilalagay mo sa ibang container. The container with the insects can be placed in a cooler. So after placing it in the aluminum foil, tsaka mo siya ilalagay doon sa cooler. The container of the insects evidence must not be too hot or too cold. Never use dry ice with biological or entomological evidence. Next type of evidence are flammable liquids. Collect fallen debris and ashes from the different areas of a burnt house. Pack the collected samples in separate metal containers with cover, seal, and label. Submit the physical evidence to a forensic science laboratory. Alala ninyo yung sinasabi kong tin can, yung lata ng gatas ng baby. Yun, dyan mo ilalagay yung mga debris and ashes mula sa mga usually arson cases or explosion cases. So, yung metal containers, matik din, merong takip dapat yun. Then, seal and label. Number 2, in the collection of suspected volatile substances like gasoline and kerosene from fallen debris, collect question sample from the lower layer of the fallen debris. So, kailangan makakollect ka ng debris doon sa lower layer. So, kung ganito kakapal yung debris, kailangan makahukay ka hanggang dun sa lower layer niya. Obtain a small amount of volatile liquid from open containers and place it into a clean glass vial with an airtight lid. Kung merong suspected volatile liquid na ginamit doon sa arson or sa explosion, mag-collect ka nun mula doon sa crime scene. Ilagay mo sa clean glass vial. And then, sample of wood, paper, soil, rags, cloth, and others should be placed in small metal cans and immediately covered, sealed, and labeled. Large pieces of wood, upholstery, and similar objects which cannot be accommodated in can should be placed in a big carton box and immediately sealed and labeled. Syempre, may mga ebidensyang nasunog na malamang kailangan ninyong kolektahin. There is a big chance na hindi magkakasya yung iba sa mga tin can, yung lata ng gatas ng baby, diba? So, ang gagawin mo ay ilalagay mo na lang sa malaking carton box. Yung pang grocery, yung mga box nun. Ganon. Doon mo ilalagay yung mga malalaking ebidensya na makukuha nyo mula doon sa arson or explosion scene. Seal and label each container before they are submitted to the forensic science laboratory for examination. How do you preserve flammable liquids? Do not use any rubber-lined lid or plastic container in the collection of flammable liquid. Katulad nito, hindi pwede yung ganito sa flammable liquids kasi rubber-lined siya, may rubber dito, and plastic kasi siya, hindi pwede. Tapos, di ba yung mga pintura, yung iba, nakalagay din sila sa tin can. Pero, hindi ka pwedeng gumamit nung lumang tin can na pinaglagyan ng pintura. Yung sa gatas ng baby, pwedeng-pwede yun. Pero yung pinaglagyan ng pintura, hindi pwede. Metal can with airtight cover is best used to collect volatile or flammable liquid to prevent loss of samples para sure na walang malalaglag. Next is explosive evidence. Connected siya doon sa flammable liquids. So, explosive evidence. Collect loose explosive debris from the seat of explosion and place them in a plastic bag. Anong ibig sabihin ng seat of explosion? So, kung nandito yung bomb, dito sumabog, then this is the seat of explosion. Collect additional explosive residue from the focus of the blast by digging up 3 to 5 inches deep. Wala, siguro dito hanggang dito. Ang lalim ng huhukayin mo. Then, preservation. Do not touch anything at the bomb scene unless it is cleared by the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit expert, yung EOD. Kapag kinlear na ng EOD yung site, then, dun ka palang pwedeng mag-collect ng ebidensya mula sa bomb scene. Then, poisons. All leftover food and empty containers at the crime scene. Place them in separate containers. The toxicological evidence contained in a glass bottle with lid should be kept in an ice cooler. Then, preservation nito, never add any preservation to the toxicological samples in order to obtain conclusive laboratory examination results. So, kung suspecha ninyo ay nilason ang victim, kailangan kolektahin ninyo yung huli niyang kinain, yung pinaglagyan ng kinain niya, kokolektahin mo yan. And then, toxicological evidence, yun ang tingin yung poison na ginamit para doon sa victim. Kapag tingin nyo, lason ang laman ng isang bote, glass bottle, kunin nyo na siya at ilagay nyo sa cooler. Sabi pa, never add any preservation to the toxicological samples. Hindi katulad sa blood, 'di ba? Kapag whole blood, naglalagay ng EDTA. Pero kapag poison, hindi ka maglalagay ng kahit anong preservative. Then we have dangerous drugs. Obtain the weight of each drug and put it in an appropriate container, such as a vial or pill box. Seal and label the container. So, ang gagawin mo, kukunin mo ang timbang ng bawat drugs na nakukuha ninyo. Pansin nyo sa media, di ba sinasabi nila, nakakolekta ang PNP CIDG ng 15 kilograms ng shabu. Specific siya, di ba? Kasi nga nung kinolekta yung drugs nung Soko, tinimbang din nila ito. And seal and mark the plastic bag with your initials and the date and time of collection. Automatic naman. Standard naman yan. Preservation. Dangerous drugs in various forms like powder, tablet, and capsule when they are found together in a drawer or locker must be immediately segregated and placed in separate containers. So, kung sa isang drawer, may iba't ibang uri ng drugs, shabu, marijuana, cocaine, ecstasy, kahit na magkakasama sila sa isang drawer, paghihiwa-hiwalayin mo sila ng container, ng evidence bag. Then we have fingerprints or what we call latent prints. First, slightly touch objects, obtaining latent prints. Pick up the objects in areas least likely to contain identifiable latent prints. For example, itong inuman. So most likely, itong inuman ay hahawakan dito, di ba? Sa kanyang handles. So, ang sinasabi dito sa number 1 ay kapag tingin mong merong fingerprints ang isang evidence, wag mo siyang masyadong hahawakan. At hawakan mo siya sa lugar kung saan least likely na merong fingerprint. So, ang sinasabi dito, kung tingin mo ang isang ebidensya ay merong fingerprint, wag mo siyang masyadong hahawakan. At kung kailangan mo talaga siyang hawakan, hawakan mo siya doon sa part na least likely na merong fingerprint. Number 2, mark the lifted latent prints at the back portion of the lifting tape, the date and type of the collection and place where the print was lifted, including the case number, name, and signature of the evidence collector, and signature of at least 2 witnesses. Then make a sketch of the location of the fingerprint on the sheet of paper where the lifted latent prints are attached. Diba? Kumukuha tayo ng fingerprint evidence through a lifting tape. Tapos, kapag nakuha mo na yung ebidensya na yon mula doon sa lifting tape, kailangan, syempre, markahan mo rin siya. At mamarkahan mo siya hindi doon sa harap. Mamarkahan mo siya sa back portion ng lifting tape. Preservation, it is discouraged to use handkerchief in picking up objects with latent prints kasi obviously baka mabura because the cloth will frequently swipe off any print originally present unless they are immediately taken. Then, firearms evidence. A firearm with a cartridge in the chamber should never be shipped by any method even if the weapon is not cocked or on safety. Kasi 'di ba, ang baril kinakock mo na siya and meron ding safety feature. So, kahit na may safety feature pa siya, hindi pwedeng ibiyahe yung baril na meron pang bala sa loob niya na nandoon pa sa chamber. Syempre, kailangan mong alisin yon. Unfired cartridge may be left in the magazines of a weapon provided magazine is removed from the gun. So, yung magazine na nasa loob ng baril ay kailangan alisin mo. So, kapag binabiyahe mo na yung ebidensya, yung baril papunta doon sa crime lab, kailangan hindi sila magkasama, hindi sila magkadikit. The gun can be picked up by the texture surface on the grips without fear of placing unnecessary fingerprints on the weapon. Physical evidence such as fired bullets, empty shells, and firearm should be properly marked with initials of the evidence collector or the victim prior to submission to the laboratory. Fired bullets should be marked on the base and on the nose but never on the body. Kapag ang bala, yung naibaril na bala, fired bullets, ang nakolekta nyo as evidence mula doon sa crime scene, imamark mo siya sa base. Kung ito yung bala, ito yung nguso ng bala, nose, imamark mo siya sa base. So, dito. Bala ha, as in yung bullet, hindi yung buong cartridge. The marking should be placed near the mouth kapag mamarkahan mo naman yung nose banda. So, kung ito nga yung bala, andito yung nose sa taas, maglalagay ka malapit sa mouth. Fired bullets and fired cartridge cases must be collected in a paper or plastic bag, sealed and labeled. Before picking up the gun, make sure that the gun barrel is not pointed at anyone. Well, common sense. Fired bullets or empty shells found at the crime scene must be separately collected and placed in plastic or paper bag. Firearms should be placed in strong cardboard boxes. Preservation, never clean the bore, chamber, or cylinder before submitting a firearm to the forensic science laboratory. Diba? Nag-comment ka pa, ay, mukhang matagal na itong di nalilinis ha. Linisan ko nga. Sabi mo dun sa baril, hindi pwede, wag mo siyang lilinisan. Kung madumi siya, dalhin mo siyang madumi doon sa forensic science laboratory. Never attempt to fire the gun before it is examined in the laboratory. May mga tests kasi na kailangan gamitin mo yung baril para malaman mo kung ano yung unique striations na makukuha mo mula doon sa chamber papunta doon sa bullet niya. Kasi yung mga striations, yung mga gas-gas doon, unique yun. Magkakaiba ang bawat baril. Kaya kailangan mong iputok din yung baril para makita mo yung unique striations niya. Tapos pag nakuha mo yon, tsaka mo siya i-compare doon sa striations ng nakuha nyo mula doon naman sa crime scene. Huwag mong gagawin yon hanggat wala ka pa sa laboratory. Place weapons in strong cardboard boxes, well packed. Firearm safety is a must at any crime scene. If a firearm must be moved at a crime scene, never move it by placing a pencil in the barrel or inside the trigger guard. This is not only unsafe, but it could damage the gun. The firearm should be packaged from the ammunition and the magazine. Then last is question documents. So pag sinabi natin question documents, ito ay mga dokumentong merong question, merong tanong. Ibig sabihin merong pagdududa, hindi tayo sure kung legit ba talaga siya, kaya siya naging question documents. Number 1, collect 7 standard specimen signatures with contemporaneous dates, 5 years before and after the question document, and submit them to the laboratory along with the document containing question signature. So, for example, may nakuha kayong suicide note mula doon sa crime scene. Pero hindi kayo sure kung doon ba talaga galing yon sa biktima o baka may ibang nagsulat nung suicide note na yon at pinagmukhang sulat ng biktima. So, ang gagawin ninyo, syempre, kokolektahin nyo yung alleged suicide note, diba? And then, kailangan yung humanap ng sulat and pirma, kung pirma ang question din, mula doon sa victim. Hanap kayo ng records niya, mga notebook niya, libro niya na may mga sulat niya. And then, i-compare nyo yon doon sa question document, doon sa suicide note. Ang rule dyan is that contemporaneous, contemporary. Ibig sabihin, sa panahong ito. Kung ang date ng question document is 2023, for example, ang pwede mong kunin ng mga sulat niya ay mula 2018, kasi 5 years before and 5 years after. So, 2018 up to 2028. Kung, again, 2023 ang date nung question document. Kasi nga, 5 years before and 5 years after, yun ang pwede mong kolektahin. Submit at least 5 pages of the most current handwriting specimen for the comparative examination of questioned handwriting. So, 5 pages of handwriting ang kukunin mo para maikumpara mo doon sa question document na handwriting din. Kapag pirma, ang questions, ang sabi dito is 7. But other sources will tell you 20 to 25 na pirma. Di ba sa bangko, tagtatatlo ang kinukuha nila. Kapag mag-open ka ng passbook, mag-open ka ng account, kukuhanan ka nila ng 3 magkakasunod na pirma para ma-identify nila yung natural variations mula doon sa pirma mo. For the examination of question signature, handwriting, and typewriting, it is required to collect a combination of the requested documents to provide known handwriting specimens. Do not allow the suspect to see the document with questioned handwriting if he is being requested to provide known handwriting specimens. So, for example, meron na kayong suspect. Hindi nyo ipapakita sa kanya yung question document. Ang ipapakita nyo sa kanya, wala kayong ipapakita sa kanya. Okay. So, i-dictate nyo sa kanya kung ano yung isusulat niya. Hindi nyo pwedeng ipakita yung question document kasi pag nakita niya yon, oo nga pala, ganito ko ginawa yan. So, iibahin niya yung sulat niya. 'Di ba? So, yun, hindi pwedeng ipakita. And then, the collected question documents and standard specimen, ang tawag doon ay standard specimen pag yung galing mismo sa suspect mo or galing mismo doon sa victim. Standard siya. Walang question sa kanya. So, this must separately be placed in paper envelopes. Then, seal and label those containers. How do you preserve them? Avoid putting staples or pins on documents which will be submitted to the forensic science laboratory for examination. Baka in-staple mo siya kasi dami kasi ma'am eh. Baka mawala sila, in-stapler mo ngayon. Hindi pwede kasi magkakaroon ng butas gamit ng staple wire, diba? E di tampered na yung evidence. Original copies of the standard signatures must be obtained for purposes of comparative examination. Kasi nga, i-compare comparative examination, diba? Ang sinasabi dito is that, di ba merong standard? Pag sinabing standard, ito yung legit. Alam mo kung saan siya galing. Kinuha mo mismo doon sa suspect or kinuha mo mismo mula doon sa records ng victim. We call that standards. So, kailangan kolektahin mo rin yung original. Pero kasi sa mismong examination, hindi naman yung original ang gagamitin mong pang-compare. Kasi pwede mo naman siyang scan, di ba? So, kunwari, ito yung original. I-scan mo siya, tapos yung scan document, yun yung gagamitin mo for comparative examination. And then, do not fold or crumple the submitted standard documents. Kasi mamang laki, kailangan tupiin eh. Hindi pwede. Huwag mong tutupiin yan. Kaya dapat ready ka. Kung ano man yung documentary evidence na makuha ninyo, kailangan hindi sila matutupi. Okay?